Well, I guess that'll take us on to Smallville, Season 1, Episode 7. It's called Craving, and of course, much like Lois and Clark, you take one look at that title, and you know what episode this is.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Fat Amy Adams episode of Smallville.
Yep. This is infamous.
She has the most ridiculous looking fat suit and fat makeup on her face.
Oh, I'm so glad it doesn't last long.
Oh god. Well, that's the thing though. There's multiple versions because the thing that makes her lose weight happens, but she's still kind of fat, so there's still fake stuff.
It's
in her
gradual,
face.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not until
some points are better than others. To be fair,
it's not until much later. But the entire plot is just so stupid.
Obviously, it's Smallville.
But no, this is even stupid by Smallville standards. Don't knock over my mic. That's bad. You don't have to see Wesker on camera actually during the recording.
No, you don't.
He's he's you don't have the camera. Look at that. But yeah, so she's someone who's fat, doesn't want to be fat. She's upset about that, and of course she's making veggie shakes because she wants to eat them instead of real food to get skinny. But she grows her vegetables in kryptonite.
Yeah.
Kryptonite's everywhere. I mean, I know.
It's a great fertilizer, apparently.
Apparently so, but it also gives you cravings. Makes you skinny, then gives you insane cravings you can never fulfill.
See, that's the thing I don't get the logic of this, because usually the effects are pretty, logic. Okay, so you're in cold water, so you're cold, and you want to get warm because of it.
I don't know if I call that logical, but yeah, continue.
No, but there's a path to it that I can follow. This is, all right, we're going to make you skinny because you want to be skinny. I don't understand why it's like, okay, now you're just starving again.
This episode has scenes with her locked in her room or the bathroom telling her dad to go away. She's upset because she's fat. There's a bully at school who just actually gives Pete shit because he's hanging around with a fat person, which kids were cruel in school, don't get me wrong. But no one just walked up to someone who was talking to a fatter kid and went, "Oh, what are you hanging around with a chubby chaser? You a chubby chaser? Oh, you like the fat girls, do you?" No one did that. That is a level of just absurd. Maybe like when you're in single digits, maybe.
Yeah. See, they'll take the piss out of the fat kids themselves.
Sure.
But not out of the people who are around them, usually.
Yeah, but it's usually, there's more tact usually than just, hey, you're fat. There's more to it than that normally. Sometimes, sometimes there can be wit to cruel comments. There was no wit in this.
No, there's not.
There's not even one iota of wit. But yeah, there's scenes of her trapped, when she's got her cravings later on, and she's trapped in the bathroom, and she's just surrounded by empty pizza boxes and food, and she's been just stuffing her face. And the scene that gets me, so obviously Clark and Chloe are meant to be heroes in this show. They're meant to be our people. And obviously at the start they're upset that people are making fun of her weight, and they're quite rightly. Later on, after she's gotten skinny and she's got her cravings, they sit down next to her at lunch, and she's got tons of food on her tray, right? Tons of food, about half of what Connor eats on a daily basis. And she's sitting there and she's eating, and she's shoving it in her face. And I get looking at it at first, being like, that's a shit ton of food. That's more than anyone I've ever seen order. But the entire scene that lasts 2 minutes, Clark is just staring at her every time she takes a bite with these big judgmental eyes. And
to be fair, I think it's the way she's just wolfing it down.
I know, but after a minute, you just let her do it. This is so judgmental. What's going on?
I get it. I feel like that is realistic to me in school. Of yeah, okay, that's weird. I'm gonna stare and be judgmental. That seemed more natural to me.
Not for that long. Eventually, you stop. It's weird. Yeah, because I feel like Clark especially, he's the sort of person who would realize he's doing it and be like, "Hey, actually, you know what? I'll try and not look." Even if he's occasionally giving little glances, he'll try and not to look. The entire time, he is just staring like, "What are you doing, you fat bitch?" That is the look he has on his face.
I don't know. I get it.
Even though she's not actually, I mean, she's skinny in that scene, but
she is. But that is a huge amount of food. And I think it's the way she's jumping between things as well. She'll take a bite out of the pizza and then go into the mousse cup for a spoonful, or then to something else. It's there's no consistency to the way she's eating. She's just all over the place. It's what are you doing?
Yeah, and also she wants to suck out body fat, so she does it to a deer. There's this ridiculous CG effect of her mouth opening, like I don't know, something from Blade 2 or something. I don't know.
It's supposed to replicate like a snake, right? Now when a snake takes off, it like dislocates its lower jaw when it opens its mouth to eat stuff.
I guess.
I think that's the effect they're going for, but it's
Sure.
just like stretched and
I'll
strange.
take your word for it. But yeah, so she kills like the bully at one point. And she sucks him dry of body fat before anyone starts making sexual puns. And she's got a date because Lana's. We'll get to Lana's party later, but she got Pete as a date to Lana's party, and she starts getting hungry as she's leaving the house with him, and she's like, Pete, go, Pete, go. So she's never really.
She's not evil. She's just
She's trying to not kill Pete, so she's never really an outright villain per se.
even though she does go after the bully. I don't know if she kills him because I know he's in the hospital. I can't remember if he dies or not because Clark interrupts.
No, I don't think he dies because he takes him to the hospital.
He takes him to the hospital. I didn't know if he died in the hospital.
Well, they never mention it. I assume they'd mention it if he died.
Yeah. Maybe.
I think, but the fact that they don't mention him again. Well, first of all, he's a small enough character that we don't care. But secondly, I feel like if they're going to make the dramatic point that he died, so this is serious, like they'd make that point.
No, that's fair.
So, then again, I've been Smallville writers, so who knows?
It's why I'm questioning it. But I mean, so she's clearly not a good person at this point because she's going. I mean, yeah, he was a bully, and yeah, he did some justice, but yeah, it's a bit far. Well, yeah, I'll eat him. But.
Oh my god, I hate this so much. I hate this episode. I hate every bit of it. But, and obviously this is the worst of it, but of course we still have Lana and Clark drama to deal with. Lana's having a birthday party. She doesn't even want. Or Anne is, throwing a party. Lex is letting Denny's mansion out for it.
Just because.
There's no one questioning why he's so friendly with a couple of teenagers. I feel like most people in real life would think that was a bit weird.
I agree.
Unless it's someone if it's like someone who's a friend with the parents, or there's a connection that's kind of like bonds them anyway, and in which case it's normal. But when it's just randomly, I've befriended these two teenagers. Now, admittedly,
see, I get why they kind of let it slide with Clark because there was the whole saving the life thing, and then so then they started spending time. Like they were seeing each other around that. It's like, okay, I get it. They're friends now. Yeah. The Lana one's a bit creepier because it's just like, oh hey Clark, you like this girl? I'll go see her.
Especially when he says cryptic thing, or it's not even cryptic, but when he turns around and says, "Oh, I heard the quarterback." That's what I was looking for. The quarterback's not coming. Oh, I'm so upset.
It also implies that he pulled some strings.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh no, your aunt told me about it. Sorry, I knew."
Yeah, it's like, sure. And then the really uncryptic part is he goes, "I like your new escort better anyway."
I wonder what that means. So here, that's it. So Clark and Lana. Let's get to this bullshit. So Whitney has like tryouts. He's scholarship tryouts, right? So he's out of town for this party, and Lana doesn't even really seem to care because she's like, I don't really care about birthdays. I don't really like them. It's fine.
I can get behind that sentiment.
Do you really want to compare yourself to Lana Lang in Smallville?
No, just the sentiment of I don't give a shit about birthdays.
You know what? Yeah, comic Lana Lang. You like her because you're ginger, and then all the personality qualities is like Lana Lang TV show.
That's really insulting.
What I'm saying is you're the worst. You're the goddamn worst.
Look, all I'm saying is there are points in my life where I've been like, you're having a birthday party, and I'm like, I don't want a birthday party. And my mother's birthday is the day after mine, and like her 40th lined up with like my 16th, and it was like, we're having a party, we're having a joint party. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, I don't want to do this. Yeah, I want my friends here at the same time as your friends.
No one wants a joint party with their mother. I'm
like, what are you doing?
It's weird.
This is shit. And then so I just like, no, I'm pissing off. I'm not being in the house with this.
Did your friends mingle with her friends? Did they
I refused. I was just like, no, I'm going out. I'm not staying in the house for this.
Oh, that sounds like a good episode of a TV show. There's all the teenagers' friends having to mingle with all the mother's friends. That sounds good.
It's going to happen on Riverdale, right?
Oh, it has to happen. To be fair, though, we see all those kids like mingle with all the friends' parents anyway, so why not?
Exactly.
So what was it going? All right, so party, and so Clark awkwardly is like, hey, so you don't have backup? Hey, I'll back you up at your party. Just as a friend. You understand?
Yeah.
It's like, alright, fine. But Clark, and then, all sweet eyes, don't let me down this time. And I'm like, look, Lana, if you think this is purely platonic, why are you saying don't let me down this time like you're deeply hurt about it? I don't get it. And that's not even the worst of it. It's not even the worst of it. There's a scene later on, right, where he comes out and she's on the bleachers, right, and he comes out and sits with her, right, and it's just them. So many romantic moments in high schools where apparently whether the bleachers are empty, so just a couple can sit there and have the romantic talk. Which I'm not saying it's unrealistic. I'm just saying it happens so often in TV, especially this show that
it does. Yeah.
But anyway, so they're sitting and they're talking, and there's a moment where she says something like, "Oh, Whitney got me this present. It's a book. It's like my favorite book, my favorite author, and he tracked down like a first copy or first edition, whatever it was. It was something that meant something to her." And she's like, "Oh, sometimes I think he's like a million miles away, but then he does something like this, and he gets me. He really gets me." And she looks over, and then she realizes she's probably just hurt Clark's feelings, and she gets kind of all awkward, and like as if she's sorry she said something, and he looks kind of all awkward, and then he changes the subject. And all I could think was, wait. Your reaction to that is acknowledging that talking about your boyfriend hurts his feelings. Therefore, you know how he feels.
Yeah. And then you're just stringing him on.
There's no way to read that. Because, again, in this same episode, she's like, "You better come at the party, Clark. Don't let me down."
I know.
Oh, they're both written so horribly. It's insane. I don't get it. And which actually leads me to. So there's two really awkward, well, there's probably more, but the two that I remembered and stuck out to me, awkward lines of foreshadowing dialogue. One was fair. One was a fair phrase that people actually use. At one point, Clark got up from a table and said, "I've got to fly." That's fine. People say that. That's a common saying.
You'll let that one slide.
That one's fine. After he's been studying with Lana, they've had a study date to help with whatever class, and she's like, "Oh, Clark, you've really helped me out." It's like, hey, hey, it's not like I've pulled you from a burning building. It's fine. No one says that. That is not a saying. That is not a phrase. That is a wink, wink. I'm going to be Superman line. Oh.
Yeah. Terrible. I don't know. I don't know. I had any last week. I can't remember.
I can't remember. Do you think I remember the episodes a week later?
No, me either. I'm saying. I
remember it was the old dude that became young episode. I remember that, but like beyond that.
Yeah. I don't know much either. There was way too much Lana, is what I remember.
Yes. There was a lot of Lana in this. And of course, he keeps talking about what we're going to get Lana for her birthday. Now, here's the thing. She's saying all episode, "Don't let me down, Clark." You know he's going to let her down. It's so obvious, like, plain-faced writing.
Writing 101, yeah.
Like, and he's already done it, and I'm like, "Oh, do we have to do this again? Or is she going to be upset?" And Lex comes out, and he just sticks up for him, and he's like, "Oh, Lana, he'll be here. If he's not, it's because, he's Clark. Something really important."
He says, he'll be here if he can.
Yeah. And to be fair, they didn't end it on a downer because he's like, "Hey, let me give you a present. I got your present." And she's like, "Okay, when?" I'm like, I thought it was a stupid question. Like, why would they say that as if it's going to be a week from now? Like, surely, like, if he came over and said, "Hey, but I'm going to give you a present," and he didn't have it there and then, that'd be just more grounds for more annoyance because you've got a present ready, you dick.
I think the reason she's saying when is because clearly he doesn't have it with him. Unless it's like it's like small enough to be in his pocket.
It's a ring. Lana, we're platonic friends. We're just friends, but I'm going to get down on one knee, right? just friends.
Yeah. Don't read into this.
Here's a ring.
But, no, so I mean, I guess the reason she says when is like, "Hey, I'm clearly in bed. I've ever met you. It's night. Like, when are we doing this? Because I've got to come out clearly to get this. Because you haven't got it with you."
And it ties back to a line she had earlier. He's asking about it must be a nice birthday you remember, and she's like, "Well, I remember going to this drive-in theater when I was a kid and with my parents, and it's the last time I felt safe." And I'm like, "Oh, god damn it! You're worse than Batman with this shit. Batman doesn't talk about his dead parents this much. Jesus Christ. It's been like 12 years.
Sorry, are you telling the orphan to get over it?
In this case, I am. I'm just...
You hear that, orphans? That's Pete's advice for you.
just... You know my parents if you want, I don't care. I just... She just never shuts up about that. But it's, like, I'm joking, obviously, but like, I'm just... all she ever does is talk about, oh, I have this one great memory of my parents, and it's the one memory I have, and it is, you know,
it's there's so many. There's one memory, isn't it?
It's so melodramatic and bullshit. I hate it so much. But she mentions that there was Bugs Bunny cartoons before the movie, and she fell asleep before the movie. So he's got a little projector on the back of a truck, and they're displaying it to the side of the farmhouse, and she's like sitting there, and even her saying "pass the popcorn" was somehow atrocious acting. I don't know how you butcher the line "pass the popcorn."
Also, followed up by a popcorn bucket, which is far too small for two people to share. It was not like a reasonable sized popcorn.
Hey, to be fair, Clark's just dealt with the fat plot all episode, so he's just thinking consciously. He's thinking about weight.
It's popcorn has like nothing. It's air.
Well, it's air with a lot of sugar.
All right, fine, but it's 90% air.
He's making sure she's not going to be diabetic in a few years, right? He's thinking of her health.
Who gives a shit? It's Lana.
You're giving me shit for saying forget your dead parents. You're like, you give a shit. I hope she dies.
No, I'm saying, look, if you're gonna do a theater experience drive-in, do popcorn properly. do the full experience. Don't do this tiny little half-assed effort.
He went out and got, I mean, not just a popcorn cup, but he got like a proper cup with a lid. You know, like you'd get from like if not a theater, then like like a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
Like he's got like a paper cup with a lid and a straw. He's put effort into this, which I can appreciate, but like...
And that's why it annoys me that the popcorn is like a stupid size. It's like, you clearly gone to some lengths. You could have gone a bit further and done it properly.
Also, see when she mentions it was Bugs Bunny. No, there's no problem with it being Bugs Bunny. But my cynical side of my brain went, because that's owned by Warner Bros. So when we see it later on, it didn't have to cost anything.
No, I get that, but I let it slide because Bugs Bunny is so common.
Oh sure, yeah, no, I mean there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just like that's why it's Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, I will say, having the That's All Folks be the last moment was actually quite nice.
Oh, that was okay. I was too busy being sick of the overly sweet bullshit writing and the shitty Enrique Iglesias song playing over it.
Yeah.
I can be a hero, baby. That's what was playing.
Oh, I remember.
As if the title music wasn't like, wink wink enough with somebody save me. Then we've got this.
Yeah, I let it slide with the title theme because it's like, it's a title theme.
It's an okay song for a Roman title sequence. I'm not grudging the song that much because it's fine.
Yeah.
If anything, I actually kind of miss having credits like this where we actually get the heads with the names. I kind of miss that.
Yeah, me too. It's a lost art, isn't it?
Yeah. And this is probably one of the newer shows that have it. Because, I feel like by the time this finished, people aren't doing it anymore.
Oh, absolutely not. Because this is, early 2000 when it starts. I feel like by mid-2000s, it was kind of mostly gone.
Yeah, because, Lost didn't have it, and that started in 2004.
Yeah.
Veronica Mars started the same year and did have it, so clearly it was like hit and miss at that point.
Hit and miss, but it was, mid-2000s is like, okay, we're kind of moving away from it. Now, nothing has it.
Yeah, nothing has it. And the only things that have credits are cable shows and streaming shows, and they all have this kind of same style for some reason. Like, somehow they all do. They all have this same style, where it's all objects from the show and places in the world.
I think it came from Game of Thrones, I didn't see anywhere do it before Game of Thrones.
No, I think HBO had already done a few things like that.
Maybe.
I want to say, like, 6 Feet Under and stuff like that had...
Fair enough.
That style of thing, and that was obviously years before.
Yeah. I'll say Game of Thrones popularized it.
Oh, maybe. Even Game of Thrones, though, I don't think of as I think of that as being at least a little bit different because it's like the map. It's got like a theme to it.
It does, yeah.
Whereas I feel like a lot of the other ones are just like Star Trek Discovery goes for it, and it's just like, here's a phaser spinning around as we have a title. Oh, here's one of the little communicators spinning around as you have a title. It's the same thing.
It's a bit more abstract, I suppose, than Game of Thrones.
And most of them are pretty abstract.
They are, yeah. They're just shapes or colours.
Yeah. Which is fine if you've got a good track. The track kind of breaks it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The Star Trek Discovery one kind of grew on me over the season.
Yeah, no, it was okay. It was okay. I still think it misrepresents the show.
That's fair, but as just as an opening piece, I was at first I was like, but by the end I'm quite feeling it.
Because it's quite upbeat and hopeful sounding, and then you get to the shows like Dark War Klingons, dark.
Pretty much. That was a bit over the top even for that show, but
dear. What we not talked about? I actually, Lex is like basically discovered the wall of weird. Is like, hey, this is kind of weird. Why is there so many stuff happening in Smallville? And he goes and gets Joe Morton from Terminator 2 to do science.
Do science.
Do science. He's analyzing rocks and stuff. He's doing all that nonsense. Joe Morton, of course, was in Terminator 2. He was Dyson. He was also in Speed. He was like the head of the police. He had a mustache and that. He's very quick talker though. If you go back and watch Speed, when he's like barking out orders to his squad, he's just firing through
he's
dialogue.
fitting the theme of the movie.
he's speaking with speed.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was the direction. Everything was just do it fast.
Do you know, I unironically love the shit out of Speed. I grew up with that movie. I love it so much. But the one line of dialogue that bothers me in that movie is when Keanu Reeves looks under the bus. He sees the big bomb, and he comes up and he says it over the walkie-talkie to, I think it's Jeff Daniels. He's like, "Harry, has a bomb." And he's like, "Is it big?" "It's big enough to blow a hole in the world." I hate that line of dialogue. It's so bad. It's so goddamn bad.
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
And it's not like the movie has doesn't have a good dialogue. It does. Pop quiz, hot shot, shoot the hostage. Great little quips and dialogues and stuff. Anyway, so Lexus investigates stuff, and that's about it.
Yeah. I laughed at the moment where he comes into he sees the Wall of Weird and Chloe and Clark are there, and as he's leaving, that's when he turns to Clark's like, "Oh, I hear you're taking Lana tonight," and Clark's like, "Yeah, as a friend." And Lex goes, "Sure you are." Just absolutely no subtlety.
Yeah. That show has zero subtlety. There's not even a smidge of... Even Martha, when Lana comes over for like a minute to like drop something off, she just sort of stands there listening to all the cheesy dialogue and be like, "Oh, this is this cheesy, Clark, we did."
Yeah, and Clark comes in and is like, yeah, hit some granite, got it through. and the parents there go, people are here.
Yeah, he turns around and Larry's just staring at him like, "What?" And he's like, "I had a sledgehammer."
Slash bloody hope so.
Yeah, why would you specify that? That's more suspicious now.
Yeah.
If she said, "What do you mean?" But if she'd questioned it and you go, "Well, yeah, I mean, you had a sledgehammer," I'd say, "Oh, okay." But the fact that you went out of your way to say you had a sledgehammer makes it the most suspicious shit ever.
It does. It really does.